Mayor Gailey, can you hear us? Sound check.
Can hear you, Helmy.
Talk again if you could.
I can hear you, Helmy.
Okay, yep, you sound great.
All right.
Thanks for checking.
Busy.
We good? We're good. All right. There we go. It is 6 o'clock on the dot. Welcome to the October 10th Lake Stevens City Council meeting. We'll call this meeting to order. We are here live at the mill downtown Lake Stevens. We're also on Zoom for those of you who are joining us there. I would like to invite those of us in the room to stand up and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk Challen, could I please get a roll call? Yes, I'm just gonna make sure we got all our mics on here. All right, just want to note Mayor Gailey is virtual with us, so he's online, and Councilmember Daughtry,
Present.
Councilmember Peter Shagan,
Present.
Councilmember Donahue,
Present.
Councilmember Dickinson, present, Councilmember Jorstad, present, Councilmember Ewing,
Here.
Councilmember Tajen.
Present.
Thank you. Next is the approval of the agenda. I have one requested change. We have an executive session scheduled, item number 7. It includes collective bargaining. Been asked to also add the topic of property acquisition. I'm looking for a motion to add that.
Is there any action to follow from either item?
No action to follow.
I move to append the agenda as discussed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We have an agenda. Moving on to guest business, I will turn it over to Chief Bezzo for sergeant promotion.
So I'm here today to announce the promotion of Sergeant Gavin Heineman. Gavin was born and raised in Snohomish, Washington, graduating from Snohomish High School. Sorry. He then obtained his 2-year degree from the Everett Community College, then transferring to the New Mexico State University, where he obtained a bachelor's degree in criminal justice and played baseball. Gavin started his law enforcement career in December of 2012, where he was hired by the University of Washington Police Department. In November 2014, Gavin lateraled to the Lake Stevens Police Department. With the Lake Stevens Police Department, Gavin has been incorporated himself into multiple specialties, including field training officer, corporal, Marine officer, firearms instructor, and less lethal instructor. He was also the member of the Region 1 SWAT team over the past 5 years. Gavin has obtained multiple life-saving awards during his time here, receiving a certificate of merit in 2018, and also received the Officer of the Quarter Award in 2015 and Officer of the Year in 2018. Gavin looks forward to his new role and is excited and honored to serve the city of Lake Stevens and his community. In attendance tonight, if I can have them come forward with me, his attendance is Gavin's better half, of course, Angela, along with her children, Dakota, Hunter, Brantley, and Beckett. And I'll have Angela pin on his back. Don't stab him, please. And Council President George said he'd come forward. I'll have you swear him in. Come on up here, Jens. I, Gavin Heineman,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support and defend the Constitution and laws
that I will support and defend the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington,
the ordinances of the city of Lake Stevens,
the ordinances of the city of Lake Stevens,
and the mission and regulations of the Lake Stevens Police Department.
and missions and regulations of the Lake Stevens Police Department,
And that I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
perform and discharge the duties
perform and discharge the duties
as a Lake Stevens Police Sergeant
of the Lake Stevens Police Sergeant
according to the law and to the best of my ability.
according to the law and best of my
All right, we'll now move into citizen comments. The way that citizen comments work is we'll call your name. If you're here and want to offer comments, please fill out a green sheet, hand it to one of our clerks up front. You'll have 3 minutes to say what you need to say. And I think we'll start first and check online and see if we have anyone.
I do, yeah, so I do have one person who has raised their hand, Tom Matlick, and I will let you in, Tom. If anybody else wants to speak to the council, raise your digital hand and I will bring you into the meeting. So Tom is coming in.
You want me to keep time or? you can-
All right, Tom, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, I think I did.
You sure did. All right, you've got 3 minutes.
Thank you. Tom Matlack, 2504 112th Drive Northeast. I believe many citizens would support moving forward with a carefully crafted ordinance banning fireworks. Thank you very much for bringing it to discussion at your retreat. I would gladly volunteer for any committee work or outreach that is needed, and we certainly appreciate your willingness to tackle this tough subject. And I look forward to the process moving down the line. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Tom. Do we have anyone else online?
Nope, nobody else.
Great, thank you. I have one green sheet in my hand, so I'll call Jerry Stumba to the podium. Thanks, Jerry.
Jerry Scumbaugh, 2514 85th Drive, Northeast, Lake Stevens, Unit AA4. Speaking tonight on behalf of the Lake Stevens Senior Center. This is the second and final announcements of our contract for this year. So that being said, we broke it down on our volunteer hours a little bit more than we have had in the past. We took it within city limits, the residents, their hours, and then Snohomish County residents. We broke it that way. So 160 people from the city of Lake Stevens in our volunteer hours, and 137 residents of Snohomish County, which takes us out to 1,519 volunteer hours so far this year. This is through September. And other volunteer hours, we have trips that we do. Some of you probably don't know about that. We go to the Mariners game. We took 25 seniors with us the last time down. Had lunch at the stadium and watched the ball games on. And in total, our trips, just our trips alone, we have 559.25 hours. We go to the casinos or whatever we happen to do. And then meals served as of September, we have served 413 meals so far. And then we started a new program, fundraising program. We had a spaghetti dinner for fundraising 2 weeks ago now, I guess it has been. We had actually 66 participants in that, and we raised a little over $5,000. This is a first for the senior center, first of many. We've got a Saturday morning pancake breakfast coming up. And then we're going to do that, see how that does. We're gonna do that, and then we're going to incorporate a bingo game during the day, right after the next Saturday, and just see how that works. Basically, that takes me through mine. If you have any questions, I'll open to that. If not, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sherry.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is an executive session. And so what we'll be doing is we will be convening an executive session here in this room. We're going to ask folks to step outside into the hallway while we're meeting, and I'm going to have Kelly read off the details.
Okay, thank you. So the council will be recessing to executive session, which is a confidential session per RCW 4230-1101 to discuss collective bargaining and property acquisition for a total of 15 minutes is what we're going to start with. So no action to follow. It's 6:10 and we'll resume back in here at 6:25.
Well, you actually have actions as scheduled on the agenda.
Oh, yes, we
Above
will.
the consent agenda, so there will be some action taken.
There will, yeah, we will reconvene back to our regular session and finish up our council meeting after this session.
But no action in relation to the executive session.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I made this. Yeah.
It is 6:24, and the city council has requested an additional 10 minutes for executive session for collective bargaining. It's 6:24, we'll be back. minutes for like bargaining, we'll be back at 6. So. What now? Mayor Haley, can you hear us? It's not plugged in, but it's on and it's blue. Okay. I'll turn that on. Okay, Mayor Gailey, can you try to say something back? This is Gaia.
Yeah, I got you better now.
Okay, thank you. I just love to hear my own voice back.
All right, let's try this again. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. So nothing substantive to report this week. The only thing I'll mention, and I believe council's already aware of this, I will not be able to make it to next week's meeting. I'll be out of town celebrating my birthday. But other than that, nothing to report.
Thank you. Councilman Peterson.
I attended the museum meeting also, very positive thing. Chris Smith with the Creator Zone is starting to collaborate with the museum and based on what I saw at the meeting on Wednesday, nothing but good's going to come out of that. Teamwork, he is very helpful and very easy to work with and is helping those folks put together business plans. So with that, also Food Bank had a fundraiser this last weekend, Friday and Saturday, and very successful activity. And sounds like they're doing great things. The numbers are significantly up as far as who they are providing services to, which is a little alarming, I guess, but folks are certainly, there's some folks that are certainly having a hard time out there. So we need to be aware of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Dasher.
Went to the Candace Forum last Wednesday, I guess, Wednesday night. I was here in the mill. We have another one tomorrow over at the service center over for the school district. CT, I went to a CT board meeting and I got a special brief on the innovative services pilot project here in Lake Stevens. That's going really well. I pointed out a couple of issues that I had with it, but they're just going really good. They're going to have another meeting here pretty soon. I know Jerry Stombaugh's on that, Carrie O'Reilly, a few others that all of us know. The issue that I found out was a map that this is just kind of fun. There's a map that they laid out for where they wanted to pilot project. It had the food bank in the wrong place. So you had people on the food bank board and the CEO didn't see that the food bank was in the wrong place. I'm going to give them some grief about that. That will get changed. And I've gotten a couple of inquiries just today about where is the city's big pumpkin or jack-o'-lantern? Are we going to get that out again? People are looking for it.
David Green Parks. The plan is Thursday to have it placed out at Lundin.
You're going to have it in Lundin?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we're not going to make them look for it. We're going to tell them where it's at.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Last week was the quarterly Alliance for Housing Affordability meeting. I attended with Director Wright and the executive director, Chris Collier, is putting together reports that are very city specific. So Director Wright and I will reach out to him and have him come and present some information to the city of Lake Stevens and be available for questions. So I'll let you know when that's going to happen. And that concludes council business. Mayor Gailey, do you have any mayor's business to share?
I'll go and refrain for a night. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yep, thank you. Moves us into city department reports. I don't have any listed, but want to just check in and see if we have any tonight. Okay, great. That takes us to the consent agenda. Can I get a motion, please?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor of passing, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Moving on to our discussion item for the evening, the 2024 preliminary budget discussion, and I'll turn it over to Director Stevens.
Thank you, Council President. Let me share my screen. Oh, it's probably. You guys are in my screen, I'm not sure why. Oh, well, I'll leave it up there. Oh, then, yeah, that's fine, it's not in the way. I don't take that out. It's fine. Tonight's discussion is we're just kind of going back over what we've already discussed. There was a couple of discussion points that the council still had and wanted to go over, so we brought back some additional information. So looking at your budget calendar, as previously mentioned and now advertised, it actually should be coming out in the Herald tomorrow, the first notification.
I will take this one.
We'll take two. As I mentioned, the first public hearing will be on the 24th. We will have a public hearing on the property taxes and then the first preliminary budget hearing. So the next thing that we are bringing forward, council still had some questions on some positions, asking about the park ranger versus the park crew worker, and then also the safety and training coordinator. We didn't bring forward any additional information on the safety training coordinator as that was provided last week. The additional information that was requested from Director Garceau. Your parks operations manager is going to go over this. So David, if you would like to go over some of your proposed schedule, and then we'll go over the dollars.
Absolutely, thank you. So I believe one of the questions council had last week was what the park ranger would be doing throughout the year, because obviously during our busy season, we would want them focusing on community education and light enforcement. So enforcement through education. And then responding to emergencies as they're qualified for, mainly park related items, presenting educational services such as how to properly wear a life jacket, how to properly fit a life jacket on a child, items like that. They would support social events throughout the summer, and if they had time, they would do park grounds inspections and litter control. Then during the low season, so October through April, you see the breakout. It's some of the same work, just slightly changed in how much they're doing it. I'm sorry, I can't read that top one, but they're performing more maintenance activities and custodial work around the park, helping the crew worker team that's currently in the park. And then as needed, performing their other duties such as the community education and the seasonal event assistance. And
Were there any questions regarding that?
Thank you for bringing that back. That was helpful.
yep, and then the next slide. So this is the position comparison and cost breakdown between the crew worker one and the park ranger. One of the big points is year one, the park ranger would have significantly more related costs because we need to outfit a vehicle. We need to purchase clothing items and safety equipment, and possibly do additional training. But after year one, that related costs would drop lower, closer to the crew worker one cost. We can see our estimated totals for both is about roughly $19,000 difference. And we just wanted to express that although the Ranger was our team's top priority, we'd be ecstatic with either of the positions. And so I present you this information so you can make the best decision you can.
Thank you.
Okay, so just to kind of cap that off, looking at the position discussion, this is a list of the positions that that are included in the preliminary budget. And then it also has highlighted the park ranger and the safety training coordinator. Those are not yet included. So I wanted to have a little bit more discussion with council to find out where your desire lies on adding those to the budget based on information received and resources available. As I mentioned, the mayor and city administrator were both very in favor of these positions in the future. Just based on resources we have available, they were not included in the budget this year.
So I have a quick question. How come on this slide, we're using the 109 for the Ranger, but then the crew workers marked at 70, when in that last slide, it was total cost, I think was around 90.
The park ranger would have to be in January 1. because
Okay,
of Park school, and the other one is built in as Q2.
got it. Thank you.
So I will kind of go on to a couple of the other things that we talked about, the benefit policy proposals. Since we don't have a policy in place for the vacation cash out or the HRA VIBA contributions, the budget includes placeholders to actually create these proposals. Again, the vacation cash out does go in line with what the sewer district has and has been a discussion point for a couple of years. Regarding how to actually implement this. Again, we do have the proposal to create the policy for the vacation cash out. We'll spread it liability over multiple years, but since we don't have a policy in place yet, I just wanted to let council know that this is a proposal in the budget to actually bring back a policy for these. And so this is a placeholder at this point. And again, the same with the HRA VIBA contributions. We still need to vet all of the possibilities, all of the creation. And this is just a placeholder in the 2024 budget in order to come back to council with proposal. And I did want to show the item requests and how they line out and are allocated by department or fund. And to note that the flap has been removed at this point. And so that could be a discussion point later for council. Again, that has been removed from the 2024 budget proposal. I don't have a lot more for you at this point, just reiterating your 2024 budget priorities. And then again, the budget calendar for what's going on. We hope to have the proposed budget finalized so that we can get that into a packet to get it into the public's hands by October 20th. So with that, I would like to know what council would like to do going forward. What is your proposal for adding positions or items? How we think that will work.
I do have one other question, sorry. Why was the flock, I'm just curious, why was the flock item removed? Because last I recall, we were going to get more information on that and discuss it. And it was a decision made to remove it.
My recollection at the last meeting was that rather than keep it there as a placeholder before we had made a decision about whether to move forward, the decision was made to take it out of the budget and then add it as a budget amendment if and when it's approved to move forward.
I see. Okay, thank you.
So Barbara, I do have a question. Slide 79 of our packet shows our beginning cash at 7,112,000 approximately, and then ending at 4,039,000. So it looks like a drawdown of more than 3 million out of the. So am I understanding that correctly? So we're drawing down for the 24 budget 3 million from our current cash reserves.
In our general operating fund, yes, that does not include our contingency fund. That would be the 002 fund that you would look at.
Correct.
Mhm. So our reserves are actually in the 002 fund.
Well, I appreciate you bringing the information forward regarding the duties of the park ranger. One thought I had is, I mean, obviously, we're investing money in our parks. Sunset Park is another park that's going to be added to it. It's always been kind of a rundown sideshow, I guess you might say, and not a lot of attention being paid to it. And so I think a park ranger at this point makes sense. I know we have some budget constraints and so forth, but again, I guess I think Councilmember Jorstad used the phrase investment last meeting, and I would kind of categorize that as an investment in keeping our parks in a presentable fashion, I guess, or more than a presentable fashion, but something that's very desirable in our community. So I would support that. And I do appreciate the safety and training coordinator being distributed over the 3 different funds. I think that's appropriate in the sense that it's a citywide situation, in the sense that it benefits a lot of areas in the city. And I would support that as well.
I think the one good point that was brought up is the crew worker one. And after we get the parks guy outfitted, their salaries become pretty similar. Is that correct?
The park ranger would still have a higher salary, but
I believe it said it was about $12,000 per year more.
I remember seeing. So that being said, it's pretty similar and they're gonna be doing maintenance and so forth. I'd go with the park ranger.
So to be fair, to summarize that is after the first year, we'd be looking at difference between the 77,800 number versus the 89,200. That would be the effective difference every year going forward after the first year.
Yes.
Okay.
I guess I have a couple questions for me, and I apologize in advance for putting the chief on the spot. So I would like to know how that would impact, because I frequently see law enforcement at our parks. And I know this is conjecture, but how would you anticipate a park ranger impacting your already limited staffing?
Well, it will help out with the parking issues that we do have in some of the parks. We maybe be able to take some of that enforcement and use that. For criminal citations and stuff, we still have to have an officer there. They won't be trained up to that. So we still have to respond to those kind of calls.
But I think we don't have the numbers, but I'm guessing that the majority, from what I hear and see, is that the majority is nuisance behavior, and there is a limited amount of criminal behavior. So the park ranger would be able to address any of the nuisance behavior, and that your staff would need to respond to the criminal.
Yes.
I have a quick question on the slide, 2 slides forward. And I think maybe this question is for Anya. Can you remind me the 4th line down, or the 3rd line down, sorry, is the external training budget, and it's a $10,000 line item. If we have a training person, does that line item go away?
Not necessarily. I would like to keep it in there. And the reason for that is my thought process behind the $10,000 were for citywide trainings where we would need someone specialized to come in, such as maybe an attorney to come in and provide anti-harassment or anti-discrimination training. Whereas maybe the person coming in the door might not have that specialized training. Same thing with for example, we also had an advanced counsel training this year that we had an attorney come in and do, and we don't currently have funds for budgeting like larger trainings where we bring in a specialized person for a specific training. So that's more of a savings bucket, yeah, for those.
Would part of the role of the safety and training coordinator be looking for cost savings moving forward for specialized trainings, or becoming certified or an expert in some of those areas so that they could take over providing some of those trainings in-house?
Certainly, that's why we are suggesting the reduction in cost in the NWFF contract, because they will become specialized in all those safety areas at first. Like they could go get CPR certified, first aid certified, and deliver those types of trainings in addition to other safety trainings and certifications.
Thank you. given the information provided tonight. I especially appreciate the side by side with the crew worker one and park ranger. I also want to share my support for moving forward with both the park ranger and the safety and training coordinator positions.
The council for several years has been trying to put together a parks department. They finally bit the bullet on that and got it going. The way I look at this is not the time to necessarily degrade that when we're trying to move forward. And I understand the cost projections that we have also on other things coming. But I also agree that we need a parks ranger, and the safety and training person is going to help in many different ways, especially with our APWA accreditation. And safety is number one for the community, and I think it's number one for the people that work for us. So I believe that person is a very important part of our staff that we need. So I also support both of those.
So are there any departments that that safety and training coordinator would not have responsibility for?
Most likely they'd have really limited responsibility for police department trainings because police is very specified. They have their own training support services sergeant that coordinates most of those. However, the training coordinator would provide and help coordinate the training for the HR liability, such as supervisory trainings, potentially anti-harassment, anti-discrimination, any other safety trainings, anything that's not just in the purview of just police. We would not be helping them arrange use of force trainings, for example. But things outside of specific police trainings, we probably would. And we would be able to also track their certifications or any other trainings in the NeoGov system and help them with that.
Any further questions or discussion regarding the budget?
So I guess my only thing, I feel a lot better about the Rangers, seeing now that going forward it'd be a $12,000 difference. My only remaining concern is, I feel like there were some comments made in the past that is one Ranger enough to do the job? So I'm fine investing in parks. I just want to make sure I'm not spending money on something that isn't going to be effective or noticeably more effective than a crew worker. If we think one Ranger can do what we need a park ranger to do, then great. But if it's gonna be one wasn't enough, we need two, where does that stop? So that's my only concern.
I think we go down the road with and see how we'll have better feedback and see how much it helps to tour the maybe people messing up the bathrooms. So,
I hope that if we do move forward with that position, that we are better tracking how, the incidents we're having, the types of incidents we're having, the locations and times and things to see how effective that actually is, because we don't really have a lot of data with which to work. And so it would be really helpful to have that. And I've said this before, similar to what we have with law enforcement. Law enforcement tell you any address, they can tell you within a certain amount, the times a day, types of calls that they have. It'll be nice to have something similar for our parks department so we can see how effective that position is. I think for me, the safety and training coordinator position, anything that we can do to mitigate liability and make sure that our staff are in the best position. I recall, not too long ago, we have received some OSHA citations and fines due to our lack of proper training. And so, I think that would go towards helping prevent future incidents of, staff not being properly trained to do the work they're trying to accomplish.
As far as the Parks Department data, I remember last week, Director Garshaw said that they were standing that particular thing up. So
Starting in February.
Yeah, starting in February. So if they can get that done, that'd be great, because we do need data to help us make decisions. So
I think some of the complaints that I hear from people are that our police department is understaffed, and for a city our size, you say, why do we have so few officers patrolling? And so if we add a park ranger that during regular park hours, I'm not sure what those hours would be, anything that we can do to allow our police department to be performing more essential functions. I think would be a benefit to our city.
All right. Is anyone opposed to moving forward with the park ranger position and the safety and training position being filled?
Okay, I appreciate that. So I will add the park ranger, remove the crew worker 1, and then add the safety and training coordinator.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate the information.
Thanks.
I handed out a draft agenda for next week's meeting. It will be a special council meeting, given the executive session and action that will need to take place. Any questions or discussion? All right, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you. I didn't know.